Hello, good people. Welcome back to Global Happenings. Today, we're so excited to have you again. Finally, Labour Party has put on ground their own structure, but it's a gradual process because right now they have announced how many people they intend to send out to the polling unit. Don't forget, this had been the crux of the criticism that have been going out to them from the start of, or from the very moment that Peter Obi joined the political party to become the presidential aspirant. Nigerians have been asking that big question: where is the structure? Peter Obi came up and said the entirety of Nigerian youths and entirety of his supporters are actually his structure. But right now, based on the info on ground, they have started structuring out things to make sure that come 2023, everything will work in accordance to their prescribed plan. We're going to be looking at this structure and also what Nigerians are giving also as suggestion. And according to the news, Professor Pat Utomi, a convener, the big tent of the third force, says the coalition and the Labour Party plan to deploy at least 15 agents each to polling booths in the country to help safeguard votes in 2023 general elections. Utomi, the chairman, National Consultative Front, NC Front, and a leader in the Labour Party disclosed this in a statement on Friday in Lagos on election agenda. According to him, the coalition has worked and made much sacrifice to get Nigeria to move from state captured by aging allergy and to make the nation overcome its numerous security and economic challenges. The broad coalition of women, youth, professionals, and the intellectuals, which has adopted the leadership of the Labour Party and Peter Obi, is serving notice that in addition to its agents, which will number up to 15 in each polling booth in the country, it will use technology to guard the votes of Nigerians in 2023. He said the organization would, in the next week, unveil the details of mass polling booth education program and the retreat for the gubernatorial candidates and ideology workshops for all third force candidates. The convener, who expressed delight that Nigerians' political awareness has continued to rise, said people have awoken. They want to take back their country. He said that the coalition and the LP were planning to counter all electoral manipulation and violence in 2023 that could throw up bad leadership. The last frontier before liberation for the people is in checkmating the traditional way and means by which they thwart the will of the people. These include education or election fraud or rigging, vote buying, manipulating of electronic voting equipment, and voter intimidation, as well as abuse of emotions around ethnicity, religion, and region. According to him, that's Utomi, the coalition will inaugurate big tents, think tanks to harmonize the original manifesto of the labor movement with the production focused philosophy of its presidential candidate Peter Obi. He said these would include the production and value chain based ideas of a competitive economy based on the latent comparative advantage of the different parts of Nigeria aimed at sustainable manufacturing expure for years. Utomi said, contrary to claims about the governance capacity, structure, and manifesto of the big tent of the third force, which has the Labour Party and its presidential candidate Obi as arrowheads of a collegial leadership initiative, the coalition was ready to provide needed leadership. According to him, leadership has networks reaching down to every polling unit through the 36 uh, political commissions of both the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress. Utomi said the structure of the Big Tent has or had been deepened by the passion with which the people, young and old, were motivated to buy into the reform pointed to by Mr. Peter Obi. Hmm, this is really interesting, and Nigerians are reacting seriously. Someone here says the old thieves don't know what's coming. Every student who has been on strike for over 3 years in Buhari's 7 years so far will be part of the 15 agent pay pooling unit. Also, every Nigerian worker who's paid a minimum wage of $49, that's 30K, every Nigerian ravaged by terrorists, those whose businesses got ruined because there's no power and can't afford diesel at 900 naira per litre. Those who had finished schools and are unemployed with no government grants to be self-employed, those who can't afford the hospitals or good roads have all come out to say enough is enough. This is quite interesting. Listening to what Pat Utomi had to say about their intended plan to ensure that 15 persons are allocated to every polling unit. It's quite interesting. But then someone just said something very striking here, which I feel that it should be taken into consideration. And that thing is that the people who are going to be featuring us polling booth agents. That's the 15 guys who are going to be standing in to watch what is going to be done in each of the polling units. He gave their characteristics that these should be people who are number one, those who are Nigerian workers who are paid minimum wages lower than $49. That's about less than 30K. And also, he went further to say that those who have been ravaged by terrorist activities in Nigeria should be part of it because before they go out, I feel they will be fully gingered and they will be told the need for there to be a change in the country. And I feel also that this kind of people being there, they will wrestle everything that wants to stop the election to be free and fair. He said those who have been ravaged by terrorist activities, those whose business got ruined because there is no power, and can't afford diesel at 900 naira. Those who have finished school and are unemployed. In other words, unemployed people should also be a part of that 15 persons who are going to be allocated to different polling units. He went further to say those also who can't afford hospital bills and those who have bad roads and all of that. Such personalities who have an understanding of the problem, is important that they coordinate them together and make sure that they go in and save the day for Labour Party. It's a great one coming from them, and also they should be well tutored on what is expected of them as they go in there, and strategic reasoning should come in event of anything like violence and all of that. So right now I think the preparation is on top gear already, though he just gave Nigeria a little bit of what to expect. A lot of people have been saying it is social media. Just fairly few minutes ago, we heard what Uzodima said about it, that actually Labour Party is a social media, political party. In other words, they don't have anything on ground. But with all of this coming up, it therefore means it's going to get rather very interesting as surprises is sure to come up. Some other person says here, it's like they have been reading my criticism. Now, this won't be part of the structure being talked about, but the truth is Labour Party don't have the structure to cough out even one agent in every polling unit. That's a lie. That's a lie. Rural areas in southern Nigeria, the core north, these are areas with little or big social media fever. They constitute the major voting areas. Exactly, they constitute. But this area, this particular one, is the truth is Labour Party don't have structures to cough out even one agent in every polling unit. Now, the truth is this, that sensitization is ongoing heavily. Sensitization, people are doing a lot in another part of the country to ensure that they get a hold of numerous people. At least everyone should be a party agent somehow. Now, don't forget that just yesterday, Dati, that's Yusuf Dati Ahmed, has been, brought in as the vice presidential aspirant, which also that has settled the issue of representation. Whether you are a northerner, you are a southerner, we have perfect representation. So right now, those who are his supporters and those who enjoy this partnership in another part of the country are the ones who ensure that they have enough persons who will be working in that capacity as agent. I don't think that the issue of agent will be a problem, because on that said day, so many people will volunteer to function in that capacity. So that is an issue that has already been handled. And also, looking at the statement made by the person of Pat Utomi, I feel also in the area of a training, much focus should be on the northern part of the country, because that's where the whole thing is going to be happening. Don't forget that we have watched on television a lot of things that is going on in the northern part of the country when it comes to the issue of elections. They do a lot of malpractice, a lot. Let's be real to ourselves, especially in the suburbs, in the farm settlement, in the hinterlands, and all of that. They do a lot of it. So these guys must be trained in such a way that they can go straight to those areas, and ensure that elections they are free and fair. At least, even if you cannot get a hold of or you cannot correct anything like election malpractice, but be sure to ensure that sensitization get to those people there, because that's where they normally get their millions or their thousands, hundreds of thousands voters and all of that. So it's overly important to make sure that it is corrected once and for all. Somebody here is trying to talk about the issue of polling units, say that there are over 120,000 polling units in Nigeria. I'm sorry, but Labour Party doesn't have the number to have agents in each of the polling units. First of all, take into consideration how many people, or let me say, what's the number of our population? It's about 200 million. So you don't expect that all of this it will fail, or all the supporters in Labour Party will be, in the southern part. We also have a lot of people in the north, but somehow it's with time they'll start building up and start bringing in so many people who will help to change the narrative at the end of the day. That's what we'd like to leave it. Go to our comment section. Let's interact. What's your position on the new structure?